What's up, guys? Welcome back to 7 Trans Guys. It is Saturday, and if you remember from last week, I'm Blake.
Welcome to 7 Trans Guys.
There's a lot of different stuff in the story.
Man, we got a lot in store for y'all. We got vlogs coming.
The daily topics, vlogs, challenges, and so much more. I hope you guys like our video.
Hit the like button right here. And I would love if you would hit the subscribe button.
Now, this week, we're going to be talking about the ever-dreaded coming out story. Now, if you are in any way LGBT or exist in this world in anything that is outside of the box, I'm sure you've had to deal with coming out, whether it be to family, friends, or anything like that. Now, mostly prominent in the LGBT society, for those of you who don't know what coming out, which was I highly doubt that there are people who don't know this, it is when you essentially tell the people in your life, hey, this is the way that I am. Now, for me, coming out was a very, I'd say, a difficult thing for me to do. Like I said in the previous video, I'm from Nigeria. And growing up here, you learn a lot of things about suppressing your feelings and not being particularly expressive. And that obviously affected the way that I developed as a human being. Now, that is in no way a knock on Nigeria in itself, because obviously a lot of people grow up here and completely different from me, but that is just my experience from growing up here. Now, I've been out as a trans person for about a year and a half. And before that, I identified as gay because I wasn't ever particularly comfortable with the word lesbian, and quite frankly, even gay was a bit out there for me, you know. So when people would ask me like, hey, you know, what is your sexuality, I'd just be like, hey, you know, I like girls. And it was obviously just easier to say that than to actually express the ways that I was feeling on the inside. Now, coming out for me, realizing that I was transgender, that was a very weird experience. Essentially, like most, I don't want to say most, maybe like a fair few number of trans people, I had these feelings of being a boy and being different from the way that I was born and the way that I was from when I was a young child, but that was never something that I particularly wanted to address. Now, when I got to uni, in about my third year of uni, I met this guy on Tinder who was trans, and we matched on Tinder, and I was like, you know, what is this? What is being transgender? And he explained it to me a little bit. And if you're watching this, I guess that would be Trey. Yeah, he explained this to me a little bit, and I went on the internet and I started to research these things, and I was looking into it, and I was just, you know, when you Google something and you're just expecting like a little bit of something, you're expecting for something to just make, you know, just a little bit of sense so you can have some understanding, but you look it up and you find this world that you never even knew existed, and it just blows your mind because it is so amazing to see that you're not that weird after all. I mean, weirdness is a good thing, but it was so amazing to see that, hey, you're not out of your mind. There are legitimately people like you. There are people who were born feeling the way you do, and there are people who are the way you are and want to change, and just, it is so amazing to just feel like you're not alone. That being said, just because I realized that did not mean that I was ready to deal with it, obviously. I had a very difficult time processing it. I realized that, hey, this is the way you are, but then what now? What do you do with this information? And for the longest time, I would just be in my head, and I would sit there and just cry myself to sleep at night because I thought, oh my God, this is the way that I am. No one's gonna love me. My parents are gonna disown me. My friends are gonna leave me. No one's gonna take me seriously. Like, how am I supposed to even articulate this to people? It's not gonna make any sense. So I spent a lot of my time just repressing it, just pushing it down there and just treating it like it didn't exist, until one day, about a year and a little bit later, after the end of my fourth year at uni, towards the exam period, I'd spent all my time on Instagram just looking at pictures of trans guys, and I just broke down. I was a mess. I was bawling my eyes out, and I had to write my dissertation, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't deal with feeling like I was a freak. I couldn't deal with feeling like I was just this thing that nobody was gonna understand, even though I knew that those things weren't true of me. I knew that there were people out there like me, but sometimes it's difficult for you to process things even though you know that there is a way to do it. We believe in all these really weird things that we know are incorrect and they're lies, but we get them in our head anyway. And I had such a difficult time just dealing with that. In my time of despair, I turned to the one person that I knew that would love me unconditionally, my best friend Saban. If you're watching this, sup back. I called him and I go, hey, do you want to come over to campus because I'm having a really difficult time right now? And he showed up, he dropped what he was doing and he came to meet me and he goes, hey, what's up? I'm like, this is it, this is what I'm going through and I am feeling broken and alone in the world. And he just gave me a massive hug because he is the biggest sweetheart in the world. And he told me, hey, it's gonna be okay. I can call you a therapist, a gender therapist in London, and you can just talk to someone and get some help if you want to do that after your exams, but for now you are loved. Know that you are not alone in the world. And that meant the most to me. Like that was such a defining moment in my life to know that, hey, no matter what it is you're going through, there is always going to be someone out there who loves you unconditionally. Whether it be your family or your friends or some random person you meet on the street, there's always someone who will love you for everything that you are. He bought me some chocolate and we went and did a bunch of really inappropriate things that were really funny to recount. It was a great time. Inappropriate means we went and rode a skateboard down the side of the road. Nothing weird. After that, I told the girl that I was dating at the time, my ex, very lovely person as well, and she was supportive. She didn't quite know what being trans was, and we had a conversation about it, and I explained it to her, and we had our ups and downs about it, but in the end, she was ultimately very, very supportive of it. She was very supportive of me as a person, and over the years, I've experienced pangs, and it's not even been that long. It's been just a year and say 7 months-ish, thereabout. I'm not really ready to calculate it in my head, just shy of 2 years thereabout. And in that time, I've experienced so much self-loathing. And I've worked my way from where I felt like this thing is going to be the end of me. The way that I am is going to be something that is going to put me down in life, to going to the completely opposite end of the spectrum where I have never loved myself more. And I don't say that to be narcissistic. I've never felt so much appreciation and love for myself. I've never given myself enough credit for just existing, for being a human in the world, for being someone that doesn't get to pick the way that they turn out. Now, going from such a bad place where I was mentally, even though I was in a great physical place, to being here where I'm in a bad physical place but such a great place mentally is been the most amazing thing that I've ever done in my life. It is my one accomplishment that I am proud of, that I love myself. Now, I will not say that coming out has been an easy thing for me, because even though I've had nothing but love and support from my friends, and I should mention my brother, whom I did not think would be good about it, but has been one of my biggest supporters in the world, the first person to call, besides my best friend Saban, the first person to call me Blake. Even without me telling him, hey, I'm transgender. He saw me change my name on Facebook and he messaged me going, hey Blake, and that meant the world to me, And like I was saying, I'm not gonna tell you that it's gonna be easy, because it's not. And even though you might have a good experience with regards to the people that you physically come out to in this life, in the world, the mental experience for me was very horrid. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but I had a very difficult time just accepting myself. And that was, it brought about a lot of just needing to just cry myself to sleep for months on end. A lot of just feeling depressed and feeling like I wasn't going to be able to make it through the day. And that was difficult. That was very difficult, And then you get into the thing where there are just a sheer number of online people that will troll the shit out of you, and that is never fun. And I laugh because laughing is my defense mechanism, but there will be horrible people sometimes, just horrible human beings who will say things to you that no matter how mean you can possibly be to yourself, and I am mean to myself, you will never be able to think those things of yourself, and you will wonder how there are people out there who can possibly say these things to you. And sometimes you will meet transphobic people who are trans themselves, and that will fuck you up a little bit. That is never a good thing to experience. Someone who doesn't love themselves enough to be able to accept themselves, not to talk about accepting you. That will be horrible. But if you are willing to just go through those things, the end result, being happy, is something that for me I would not trade for anything else. I am happy to have met the trolls. I am happy to have gone through so much mental, for lack of a better word, instability, to be so stressed mentally, to just not feel like I was mentally capable of living a normal human life. This is worth it. This is worth it. If you take nothing else from this video, take from me the fact that when you are finally free, it will be worth it. At this point in my life, I'm not out to my family, as I previously mentioned in my first video. That is something that I plan on doing within the next about 3-4 months when I'm moving away from here to the US. I'm excited about that. Not really, but I'm looking forward to not feeling like I have to lie anymore to them. But I am at a point where I'm looking forward to my transition, and I'm not looking and thinking, hey, what if these things don't work out, or what if I'm alone forever, or what if people don't love me, what if this happens, and what if that happens. I am in a place where I am just like, hey, this is the reality of your situation, and you can dwell in the fact that it is not fair, and you wish you had been cis, and you wish this had happened instead of that, or you can just live your life, and you can love yourself, and you can just live and be happy, just prosper in peace, and I know that that's not easy or accessible to everybody, but if you're in a place where it is accessible, no matter how difficult it is, go for it. That is all I have to say. I wish everyone out there who is thinking of coming out, who is in the process of coming out, who has come out, the best and everything life has to offer. I hope for you that you genuinely have a good and happy life, and people around you are supportive, they love you, and they give you everything that you deserve in this life, because you deserve good, and don't you ever goddamn forget it. Now guys, thank you so very much for sticking around for this video. Might be a little bit long, but yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you tune in next week, and remember to watch the other videos from earlier in the week, and I guess I will see you next Saturday. Bye guys.